Thank you everyone for attending this session this morning. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day. My name's Shane Morgan. I'm the Executive Director of Sales, and with me today is Melinda Smith, who is our Analytics Solutions Specialist. Just by way of background, BizTech is a specialist consultancy that's been in business since the year 2000, and we're focused on delivering analytics solutions covering the key areas of information management, business intelligence, financial performance management, and predictive analytics. We're an IBM, Microsoft, and Tableau business partner. We help organisations understand how they can better use information to make more informed decisions and to drive business outcomes. Our goal is to ensure our customers gain a real and tangible return on investment from the technologies that we deploy. We're your one-stop shop for all your business analytics requirements. We offer consulting services to help build and deploy solutions. We provide post-implementation support to ensure that the system remains fully operational. We run training courses to educate users, and we can assist with all licensing requirements when procuring software. This provides a list of customers that we work with. We've undertaken over 4,000 engagements since commencing business, and a multitude of customers across a broad diversity of industries, producing a number of key success stories. These are just a few of our customers that we've included here, and you can see that we've also got our friends at the Bank of PNG. And speaking of the Bank of PNG, I thought I'd provide a brief overview of our working relationship with the bank. So the Bank of PNG has been a BizTech client since the year 2010. We initially assisted the bank to develop an enterprise data warehouse. Through that process, we then deployed the business intelligence and financial management technologies and delivered 3 key projects on time and on budget. We've worked with a number of key stakeholders, including the Assistant Governors Joe Terrier and Elizabeth Genia. The projects implemented include the SLIDS project, which is a reporting solution that enables external stakeholders to provide information on statutory superannuation payments, and in turn provides reports, dashboards to internal stakeholders to be able to analyse that information. We've also implemented the Banking Supervision project. Based on the success of the SLIDS, the project was extended to include reporting on the banking and finance industry. And finally, and more recently, we've been assisting with the Payment Oversight project. This project was established to meet the World Bank obligation requiring the development of a reporting and analysis solution to enable the bank to quickly access accurate and timely payment information through a collection of dashboards and detailed report formats. We also like to make the most of our time when we get up to PNG, and I like to try and indulge in one of my passions, which is going surfing, and I had the opportunity to do that back in February 2016. Went up to Vanimo and managed to experience some of the beautiful landscape up there and enjoy some of the ocean also. Enjoyed my time immensely up there. Okay, so let's turn our attention to what we're really here to chat about, and that's the Tableau technology and how we can make your data analytics fast, easy, beautiful, and most importantly, useful. Tableau, their mission is to help you see and understand data. It's about making it easy for people to understand data through visualization. It's about putting the power of analytics into the hands of business stakeholders. And it's about helping to answer questions, solve problems, and generate meaning from data in a very logical and very visual way. Okay, so why is this visual representation of information so important? What do you see when you look at this table? Your eye may pick up 1 or 2 outliers, But can you see any trends? It's difficult. But when we take that tabular data and we make it visual, we can better see and better interpret what the data is telling us. We can truly see the outliers and understand the trends in the data. So let's just take a little bit of a backward journey here, a brief journey back in time to look at some of the early data explorers to further validate the importance of why visualising data is critical. Our journey takes us back to the 1700s, where Joseph Priestley and William Playfair are credited as being the first adopters of visualisations. Priestley created the innovation of the first timeline charts, in which individual bar charts were used to visualise the lifespan of a person, and the whole could be used to compare the lifespans of multiple persons. These timelines directly inspired Playfair's invention of the bar chart, and several other types of diagrams, including the line, area, and the very popular pie chart. Shift forward to the next century and we find something of a data hero in John Snow, who is credited for his work in tracing the source of a cholera outbreak in Soho, London in 1854. His findings inspired fundamental changes in the water and waste systems of London, which led to similar changes in other cities, and a significant improvement in general public health around the world. Snow plotted deaths on a map with bars to illustrate the cluster of cholera cases around the Broad Street water pump. He used statistics to illustrate the connection between the quality of the water source and cholera cases. He showed that the South Walk and Vauxhall Waterworks Company was taking water from sewage-polluted sections of the Thames River and delivering the water to homes, leading to an increased incidence of cholera. And this interesting map, drawn by Charles Joseph Mignard, depicts Napoleon's disastrous losses suffered during the 1812-1813 March on Moscow. The illustration shows Napoleon's army departing the Polish-Russian border. A thick band illustrates the size of his army at specific geographic points during their advance and their retreat. So how does the human mind recognise and perceive or visualise things? Brains are pattern detecting machines. They have the ability to recognise many different types of patterns and then transform these patterns into concrete, actionable steps. Let's look at an example. If I was to ask which product subcategory is performing worst, our brain makes use of colour, size and orientation to bring the least profitable item to the forefront of our mind. We can quickly ascertain that the small business bookcases in the East region are in need of investigation. Inversely, we can see the more profitable items, such as corporate office machines in the South region, are performing well. This is a hierarchy showing how the human brain naturally assigns importance to data. Interestingly, humans view position as the most important data point and shape as the least important. Okay, so knowing this hierarchy and knowing the brain is really good at processing visual data, we need tools to assist us in creating data visualizations that leverage the power of what is known as pre-attentive processing. The good news is that Tableau, the tool we're about to demonstrate, is designed to assist you to build data visualizations using pre-attentive features, incorporating those shown here. So from here, I'd like to hand over to Melinda, who will guide us through a demonstration of the visualization capabilities of Tableau. Over to you, Mel.
Cheers. Thank you, Jane. Today I'm going to be taking you through a demonstration of Tableau Desktop. In the top left-hand corner are the different file types that we can connect to. So there's Excel, text, JSON, or even PDF. As we continue down, there are a number of different data servers, whether it's connecting to Microsoft SQL Server or other data sources such as Google Analytics or Google BigQuery, for example. In the middle, we can see the different workbooks that I've worked on previously, and over on the right-hand corner is the Discovery pane, which contains some really useful links to different training and other tutorial and resource types as well. And down the bottom right-hand corner is the Visit of the Week, which is a really great mechanism for inspiration in terms of what's actually possible with Tableau. And on the bottom left-hand corner are our saved data sources. So a saved data source allows somebody else to handle the complexity of how the data is stored and provides the analyst with a human language view of the data. So I'm going to select our PNG Superstore, and up in the top left-hand corner we can see our dimensions. So they are essentially our categorical data elements. They are the things that you group by or drill down by. And then the bottom left-hand corner are our measures. They are the quantitative data elements, the things that you add up or average. So we can get started straight away. So for example, if I double-click on sales, category and subcategory, they're automatically added to my visualization. I can easily swap the rows and columns and sort descending within my visualization as well to identify those subcategories that are performing the best in terms of sales. I can interact with my visualization in a visual manner by simply dragging and dropping other elements to my viz, such as profit. Now that I've added profit to my viz, I can see that the bars from the visualization have been coloured by how profitable our different product categories are. Because profit has both negative and positive values, Tableau has used a two-tiered colour system. So the positive values are indicated by blue and the negative values are indicated by orange. So we can see that we definitely have a problem in tables in that they have a reasonably high amount of sales but a negative profit. So we might start now asking questions about whether this is related to region, for example. So let's drag and drop region to the visualization. And straight away we can see that it's our islands area where we have the most significant problem. We can now choose to focus in on the islands area by selecting Keep Only. I'll also add my products to the visualization as well. Let's sort descending. We can see that there are actually some profitable products within my visualization. However, I really only want to focus on the negative ones. So if I select profit and then show filter, I can easily use a gauge to go slide up and down in terms of how profitable the products are that should be included within my visualization, or I can simply type in the number. So let's type in 0 to only show the negative products. I can now select these products and select View Data, and this allows me to see the summary of the data behind that visualization, or I can select Full Data, which will show me the transactions that sit behind the data within that visualization. I can now click on Export All, which will allow me to export to CSV. I could send this off to my product team for them to investigate further as to why this particular product's not profitable. What I'd also like to be able to do is be able to share this information with my management team in the form of a dashboard. So I'm just going to select Undo just to go to a more higher level view of the data, which shows our different regions broken down by the category and subcategory. This is the type of viz that I want to be able to share with my management team. So let's just call that worksheet product. What if I wanted to look by sales by time? So if I double click on sales and then order date, and that's added to the visualization. So a couple of things that have happened there. The first is that Tableau converted my column chart into a line chart because we're looking at data over time. I should note that there is a Show Me button up in the top right hand corner, which allows you to choose different visualizations if you'd like to choose one different than what Tableau has recommended. And the second thing that's happened is that Tableau has converted my date, which is a standard date such as the 20th of November 2017. It's converted into a date hierarchy that I can now drill up and drill down through. So if I can drill down to year to quarter, then from quarter to month. I don't need to have quarter there, so let's remove that. I can now start doing some analytics just by moving around my year field. If I drag year to the right of month, that now shows me a cycle plot, which allows me to view the monthly performance year on year. So if we look at January, we can see that performance has improved from year to year. And if we look at June, for example, we can see that our performance has actually deteriorated for 2017. I can move year down to rows, which allows me to read data from left to right and then top to bottom. If I drag year to the colour pill, that allows me to visualise my yearly sales performance all within the one visualisation. I can also perform analytics on the fly. So for example, I can drag and drop average, which shows me my average over all time, or by dragging and dropping average and placing it in the pane, that allows me to view my yearly average and see how I'm improving year on year. I can also identify trends. So by producing a linear trend, shows me the line of best fit through my data, and by hovering over that line of best fit, I can see the R-squared and the p-value associated with that as well. I can also perform predictive analytics. So for example, I can drag and drop my forecast, and Tableau will now determine, based on the data that's within my visualization, it will provide a forecast for 2018. That forecast can be customized, in that we can change the time period that we're forecasting for, and also change the forecast model, whether or not we want to include seasonality, for example, within our forecast. I can also perform some other types of calculations on the fly that we call table calculations. Some examples of these are running total, moving averages, year to date, percentage difference. I can do this simply by selecting running total, and that will show me my running total. I can easily change that to be a moving average, which will show me my moving average over time. Each table calculation can also be customized. So for example, instead of at the moment we're using 2 months, we can now change that to be 12 months if we wish to do our moving average calculation, and the calculation updates accordingly. So table calcs are really great feature. For anyone that's worked with databases, you'll know that trying to create those calculations can be quite time consuming. But with Tableau you can do it all with the click of a button. One challenge many customers face is that they have data spread across multiple systems. One thing that we want to be able to do quickly and easily is be able to mash up data across different data sources. So an example of this is actual versus budget data. So I've got an example budget file here, which is our budget data for our PNG Superstore. We'll see that we've got our provincial data down the left-hand side, and then we've got data represented month on month going across the right-hand side. This data is great for the human eye to actually be able to consume, but perhaps not so good for Tableau or data interpreter to be able to understand. We've got titles, we've got blank rows, and values like month that are appearing as column headers when they should actually be appearing as values in rows. So let's have a look at how we can actually bring that into Tableau. I'm just going to drag and drop that. So that data is now being brought into Tableau. We can see that we've got some problems in that we've got a title that's appearing in our data. So we might be able to make use of the data interpreter. So a data interpreter is really good for Tableau when working with Excel spreadsheets. It'll do things like remove the blank lines and remove totals, for example. So that's actually worked quite well, but we can see that we've still got our months appearing as headers in our columns. So how do we rectify this? So let's select all of our months that are appearing as column headers. Simply select, right click, and then pivot. So what that will do is that will move those column header values and transform them into rows as month values. So let's just change the name here. I'm going to call that order date. And I'll also change the type, so now that's a type date, and then we'll change that to be budget. And now if we go back to our data view, we can see that that data now looks in a reasonable format that we can utilise now within Tableau. So let's go back to our worksheet, and you can see now in the top left hand corner that we now have two different data sources. One is our first data set that we were working with, which was the sample PNG Superstore, and the second is a budget data set that we've just entered in. In the top left-hand corner, under Dimensions and Order Date, you'll notice there that there's an orange link button. This indicates that Tableau has already identified that a relationship exists between those two tables. And then we can now represent data from both data sets within the one visualization. So I can drag and drop budget over to my viz. I can now compare my actual versus budget performance. I can also create new calculated fields across those two different data sets. So for example, budget variance. And all I need to do is drag and drop. And if we put a sum around that, just so Tableau knows how to roll the data up, I can navigate back to my actuals and just bring sales in, drag and drop it, put a minus sign, and there's our calculation. So that now appears in our budget data set. I can drag and drop budget variance into my visualization, and that will now appear in a second axis. We can change that mark type, so let's change it from line to be of type bar. And let's also add in our budget variance as a color. So that now makes it really easy to identify where we've actually have not met our budget. And you can see that in 2017 we've actually been reasonably successful at meeting our budget. So let's rename this worksheet as well, and let's call it budget variance. So when we were looking at time before, that was I guess a special type of field within Tableau. Another special type of field is geographical or geospatial. So Tableau has built-in GIS capabilities. There's no need for geocoding. It will identify things like country. So we can see that it's identified in our data. We've got Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Australia. So there's no geocoding required. Tableau can identify the relevant fields and place that into the map. And because we're working with geospatial data, Tableau has provided the map visualization as the best suited visualization for what we're trying to do. I can now drill into country, then province, and then I can also drill into city as well. But so far, really, all we've got is points on a map. Let's start adding some data to that. So again, if I double click on sales, we can see that those points are now sized in terms of how much sales they've generated. If I double click on profit, we can see that color has been added to those points as well. Let's just do a couple minor adjustments just to make those points stand out a little bit more. The first thing that we're going to do is adjust the size. Let's also adjust the color as well. And last thing I'm going to do is also just add a border around those points as well. So now it makes it really clear to identify, based on our geographical data, that we've got a particular province, so East CPIC, that's doing really well in terms of sales and profit as well. But we've got this other province, Kogopo, city, that has reasonably high number of sales, but really negative profit. So this might be an area that we want to focus our attention on as well. We can also add different types of filters to our data. So for example, if I add region to my filters pill, select all, and then if I select show filter, I've now got my filter appearing up in the top right hand corner, and I can filter as you would a standard drop down box as well. So this is also a visualization that I want to be able to include in our dashboard. Before we do that, I'll just do one last thing and add in a map layer just to change the color of the map, just to help those points stand out a little bit more. Perfect. And I'll rename that to be map. So now that we've created these visualizations, what we might want to do now is share that with other people in our organization. So if I select a new dashboard, let's just change the size of the browser. And all I need to do is really start dragging and dropping for those visualizations to appear on my dashboard. And that's that map. First thing I'm going to do is just do a tiny little bit of a cleanup. I probably don't need all these legends that appear on the right hand corner, so let's just hide those for now. Some of these headings we probably don't need either, so we can easily hide those. Same with the categories and subcategories. And we certainly don't need sales repeating. Change that to be entire view. And we'll do a similar thing down for our budget variance. Hide those labels. And let's do the same for month. We don't need to see those over and over again. Great, so let's all add in a text box as well, just so we can put a title for our dashboard. And we'll call it a Superstore dashboard. And of course you can change multiple different font sizes, different colors that you can use as well. Let's bold that as well. Let's bring that up. We'll also add region. I'm just going to change that to be of type floating, which means I can just pick it up and move it wherever I want to put it. And we'll make that a drop down box just so we've got a little bit more room on our dashboard to play with as well. So if I drag and drop that, I can just move that up to the top. So now when I select region, you'll note that the only visualization that is updating is our map. So what I need to do is just select apply to worksheets or using related data sources, and that now means that other visualizations within the dashboard will update as I select a different filter value. I can also use visualizations as a filter. So for example, I can use my map as a visualization as a filter, and as I select each of the different points, we can see the rest of the data on my dashboard updates accordingly. I can use the built-in geospatial features by using the lasso. I can select particular points of interest, and you'll note that the rest of the dashboard elements update as well. So now that I've built my dashboard, what I want to do now is actually share that with other people in my organisation. So I can select Publish Workbook, and let's call it PNG Tableau Demo, and select Publish. So what that is doing now is that is publishing the content that I've created on my on Tableau Desktop and publishing that up to Tableau Server, which is a web-based product where other people within my organisation can log in and view that dashboard that I've just created. So we can see that the publishing has been complete. So I can now view that dashboard, and other people can interact with that dashboard in the same manner as that we were doing within the desktop. So for example, I can select each of my different regions and the dashboard will update accordingly. I can still utilise the filter capability, choosing a lasso, choose those particular points of interest, and the rest of the dashboards update as well. I can also create alerts, subscribe to email. So when you subscribe to an email, subscribe to a report or visualization, it means that you get sent an updated report on a regular basis. You can also choose to be alerted, which means that you only get notified when a certain criteria is met. So in our example, it might be only notify me when budget variance is less than 0, for example. All the reports and dashboards can be edited from this environment as well. And there are a number of different formats that you can download the published workbook, whether that's as an image, if you just want the data, a crosstab, a PDF, or Tableau workbook. I won't spend too much time going through the other functionality or features of Tableau Server, other than to just, briefly comment on the fact that Tableau Server has a fully integrated and secure security model. It will integrate with your in-house authentication providers, whether it's Active Directory or other types as well. Users can be put into groups, and then security can be applied both at the user group and the group level, and also at the content level. So you can provide security based on different report types and different report groups that you've got set up within Tableau. You can set up a schedule so that data that is being brought over in Tableau, you can schedule it up so that it extracts and refreshes on a regular basis as well. So that's kind of an overview of Tableau Desktop and a really brief overview of on Tableau Server. Does anybody have? I might open the floor up now for questions. If anyone has any questions that you'd like to ask.